All right, guys, tonight we're going to be talking about relationships, particularly karmic entanglements versus clean, divine union, signature union relationships, and how to spot some of the differences and feel it in your body, some red flags, some green flags, and some ways to train your coherence and ground some of this information, some practical ways to ground some of this information. All right, so I want to start with the good stuff. Uh, the actually it's all good because all relationships are meant to teach us something, and even karmic entanglements are considered sacred. So it's just a matter of knowing what you're dealing with and what you're in. I mean, we're coming out of the year 9. We're almost through it. The year of the snake. If you haven't checked out my last video, check it out. It goes a little bit more in depth on the meaning of that, what it means to be coming out of the year of the snake and shedding old skin, and the year that we're heading into, which numerologically is a year 1, but it's actually a year 10 because that zero act is actually representative of um, the womb, like the womb of creation, the cosmic womb, and co-creation. It's a really creative time. So, and with it being a year 1, it's really fresh new beginnings, and with the energy that we're coming out of, um, and shedding old skin. A lot of us have gone through the depths and um, released things and have done a lot of healing and a lot of inner work. And now that's gone through with starting a new year, a lot of us are coming into new relationships or magnetizing more aligned relationships to us, whether that's romantic or not. However, this particular message is romantic. So um, if it take it how it resonates. If it doesn't resonate, then it may not be your message. But I already set the intention that this message find who it needs to find, and I hope that the information is as useful to you as I found for it to be for me. So with that being said, okay, so I want to start with the good. I want to start with the divine, clean divine union signature, and what that could look like, what that shows up feeling like and looking like. Um, and then we'll get into some of the karmic entanglement and how that looks and what that looks like. I have notes here. It's opposite of how I wrote my notes, so hopefully I can stay on track and keep up with my own notes. But so a clean divine union, what does that mean, and how does that feel? What does that look like? Well, it feels like in your nervous system that you're calm. It feels calm in your nervous system. It doesn't feel like anxiety or fear. It feels like emotional safety, and like you can uh, be open, have your heart open, and feel safe. It doesn't feel You don't feel any pressure to interpret or have to rescue somebody within the relationship. It's a mutual presence. And we'll talk about why that's important too when we get into the karmic entanglement, why mutual presence is important. But it could feel like communication is clear. It's like the opposite of the Seven of Swords type energy where communication is not clear or sometimes just not present at all. It's very Seven of Swords. It could, well, not it could. It's absent of that Seven of Swords type energy where, um, which is like illusions and avoidance. So it's absent of that. Attraction, again, without fear. You're able to feel attracted to somebody without that attachment type, like devil energy. The devil will pop up in the cards if there's that anxious attachment, or there's different attachment styles that you can look into. But without, you could feel that connection without feeling like uh, there's anxious attachment or fear of abandonment or fear of losing it, or um, hyper focused or obsessive or obsessing. So it's absent of that. um, it feels simple and not dramatic. I know that doesn't sound exciting, especially when we compare it to some of the traits of a karmic entanglement. However, when we get out of the initiatory phase of a karmic entanglement, if it does have the opportunity to come into union, um, then you can have some of these things without it. You could have some of the exciting aspects of it, the passionate parts of it, but without the toxicity. We'll get into that later. So it feels, again, simple, not so dramatic, because it's not performative. If it should feel natural, it should feel authentic, and like you can show up as your natural self and in your your own skin, your own habitat, and feel comfortable and safe. Um, it feels expansive. It expands capacity, so it allows you to grow and stretch, but without destabilizing you. A true divine union is actually more stabilizing and allows for that growth and expansion, because it's a union that promotes building together and growing together, and not the opposite, which is destabilizing. Think like the tower. The tower, every second you're trying to build something and you got somebody at the bottom of the your tower with, or your castle with a stick of dynamite ready to blow it up. So um, you're able to have that union, have that capacity to build and expand and grow without destabilizing each other or losing yourself in each other. You both have clear energetic boundaries, and that's the importance of being able to balance out your masculine and feminine energies, and being sovereign and whole within yourself in order to show up to a relationship in that way for it to be healthy. And you're not looking um, to each other for um, any kind of validation external from yourself. So, of course, again, you want somebody that's going to support that, support your growth, and make you feel seen and appreciated and loved for who you are, and encourage you, but but you but external from the relationship, ideally, you know who you are and you know your worth. So it's harder for somebody to take that from you or destabilize your identity and who you are within that relationship. So, because if you are in an energetically mismatched relationship where it is karmically entangled, then most likely you're both, one or both of you, are still dealing with karmic wounds that need healing in order to come into a healthy union. So, what else? What else does that look like? So, also, the connection feels consistent because it's not based off of performance. It's not based off of this high level roller coaster intensity. It's able to stay consistently grounded because it's stabilized, basically. Um, Usually when you get that roller coaster type, um, okay, I did that without turning off the camera. Usually when you get that up and down roller coaster type energy, most people mistake that for excitement and depth, and really it's chaos. And your nervous system being used to chaos and not knowing how to have a regulated nervous system. So it's often mistaken that that roller coaster, that up and down, people are easily able to become addicted to that. Um, that feeling, that the really high highs, and then there's the really low lows. Those really high highs is what people usually get addicted to within the relationship, and they mistake that for um, intensity and depth, and um, something more than what it is, something other than what it is, which we'll get into. So now I'm wishing I would have done the karmic entanglement first, but that's okay. It'll all come together. Um, it should feel solid, and like you don't have to suffer in order to stay together. Um, Oftentimes, people in when we're in karmic entanglements, we often mistake suffering for again, depth and um, destiny and something fated. And oftentimes it is fated. I mean, people come into your life for a reason. And again, there's that is it initiation, or is it, for union? So initiation is in order to learn something and heal something. It illuminates areas in our lives that have been suppressed and buried, or aspects of ourselves that we don't know until we have a mirror held up to us in order to see that aspect of ourselves and recognize that, oh, that needs to actually be healed or integrated or released. I'm holding on to something that isn't mine to hold on to, or something I'm holding on to out of conditioning, or um, karmically. So, so that's how. Those are some of the healthy attributes to being in a clean energetic, a clean divine union with that energetic signature. And when you're in a karmic entanglement, so can often feel very intense, and so it can often be mistaken for a divine union. And again, it's still divine, it's still sacred, it's just not union. It's um it's um a union is more like, when you think of it on an energetic level, um a karmic entanglement would look more like the roller coaster, up and down, needing to separate, part, and come back. And usually it's a karmic loop that continues to repeat until you break the cycle. But divine union actually looks more synergistic. It's more like a dance. If you imagine the double helix of a DNA, it looks more synchronized like that. It does still require sometimes, at least initially, or however many times as it takes in order for you to come into a solid union, but it still can require time apart. But usually that time apart isn't due to for suffering, or usually that time apart is for space and for integration and recalibration. And so karmic entanglement, though, the union can feel like emotional intensity without clarity. So it's a lot of confusion, Seven of Cups type energy, where you never quite know where you stand. Usually it's lacking communication. Communication's not clear if there's any communication at all. There's usually a runner chaser dynamic, or um, uh, I don't want to get into all the attachment styles, but usually there's like an avoidant, dismissive type, an empath, two empaths. There's different types, but and both usually have their own um, wounds that they bring into the relationship that are needing needing reflection. So um, it does bring intensity. It creates emotional extremes. Again, that roller coaster. It's usually a catalyst for someone's awakening. However, you should not feel responsible for somebody else's awakening, and nobody should be waiting for for each other. I mean, use discernment. I mean, that's not always going to be the case, but ideally, people don't change overnight, so, and sometimes they never will. The point is, though, you're not responsible for somebody else's awakening, and even if you may have been the catalyst, it's not for you to decide when that person that person heals. That's between them and their own divine timing. So um nobody should be waiting. Don't put your life on hold for your partner, or for um possibly a divine partner. you know um Live your life, basically. So also, how it could look in karmic entanglement is, again, the very high highs and very low lows. You're usually triggering the hell out of each other, is what's happening. You're awakening things within the relationship that you normally would not have seen or known. Um, and things that need to be cleared in order for divine union to happen, if at all possible. So it could also be telepathic noise. So you may still have that telepathic connection, but there may be a lack of coherence and activity. So you may be picking up an energetic signature that isn't necessarily your energy. And there's ways you can, ground yourself and block from that, where you you can hold energetic boundaries to where somebody else's energy isn't affecting you as much, especially if they're really confused, you know, or vice versa. You don't want your energy affecting somebody else either. So it's really important to maintain energetic boundaries, which we'll get into a few ways you can do that as well. Anxiety framed as connection. Anxiety does not equate to connection, and neither does waiting. Waiting does not prove your worth or your devotion. That's not how that works. But often people, and these are some of the misconceptions, often people will, and even some of the attachment styles will even test their partner to see, well, how much do they really love me? How much are they going to put up with? If you're in a true divine union, your partner is not going to test your boundaries. They're not going to, they're not going to they're going to respect your boundaries, and they're not going to need rescuing. So some of the other misconceptions is that intensity equates to truth, and also separation equals failure. These are all misconceptions. um, Separation does not mean failure, and um, intensity does not equate to truth. Again, that intensity often is a mismatched frequency. It's not even about um, better or worse or right or wrong. It's an energetic mismatch. And so it's like this dissonance. It's not a resonance, a clean resonance. It's more like a dissonance. So, and you could feel it, and it shows up as um, disharmony. It's not harmonic. It's not a very harmonic dance. It's not the double helix, moving in formation. So, what else? And these are the misconceptions that keep people stuck in these relationships and these karmic loops that just will continue to repeat and repeat and repeat until somebody decides to get off the damn roller coaster. So um, their healing doesn't happen that way. I mean, it usually when you break the cycle. Hang on, I feel like I'm getting a froggy in my throat. Usually, if you break the cycle, sure, that could be a catalyst to uh, more growth, but usually it takes somebody leaving. It takes somebody leaving and breaking to break that cycle. And usually it's somebody who's finally learned the lesson, learned the lesson that needed to be learned, because really those are initiatory. Um, it's initiation to heal something. It's something that's wanting to be witnessed in order to be healed and or integrated. So once somebody learns the lesson, then they're able to finally break that chain, that loop. Otherwise, you continue to go and go and go until you actually learn the lesson. So, initiation, mistake it for divine union. Um, in a karmic entanglement, again, there's that inconsistency and a certain level of performance. Usually someone's wearing a mask or both wearing a mask, who knows? But there's usually performance involved. And so there's inconsistency there, and hence the up and down, because um, that intensity, you can't maintain that intensity, so then it dips to a very low. um, Whereas in a divine union, that high, it's a very high vibrational frequency that can be consistently maintained. It can be held because you both have the containers to be able to hold that level of frequency in in harmony. So uh where are we? Oh, okay. So I don't want to skip anything. I kind of got ahead of my notes. Um, in a karmic entanglement, it often feels like like you're drained. You feel spiritually drained. And usually that's because of the energetic mismatch. There's somebody carrying the weight of the relationship. There's somebody carrying the weight of everything. And so what happens is you end up becoming energetically depleted, like you're genuinely losing your life force, where in actuality the other person is probably feeling more vitality, more alive, more energetic, because they're they're reaping the benefit of that high vibrational energy of the relationship, but at the same time draining it of its life force because they're not putting anything back into it. So it's like you'll have a mismatch. It'll be a very clear energetic mismatch. One person will feel completely depleted and drained, and the other person will feel the exact opposite, maybe more energetic than ever, and using that energy to probably go feed other karmic karmic relationships, who knows, in third party situations. That's where the Three of Cups starts coming in, the devil again, all kind of stuff. So you don't want to do that. um what else do we have? Divine masculine and divine feminine do not come into union. So this is some things to, now that we know the differences of what you would feel, or yeah, what you could feel in either of those situations, the differences, some things you can do and how you can check. um, First off, note that the divine masculine and the divine feminine do not come into union through suffering. So that may be the initiation process, where you're still cleaning up the karmic debris, and the if you if you think about it, all of the things that come up within that initiation process, that's like, think of that as like the cleanup, and then before a union can happen. So in that initiation phase, that's where you're feeling pain and suffering. That but the point is to not get stuck there. It's like, you don't that's not a way to live. That's not a healthy relationship. It's like, when things bubble up to the surface, to see it and deal with it, you deal with it. You see it so that you can deal with it, not to keep repeating it and repeating it and repeating it over and over and over again. So um, divine union is not does not come into union by suffering, but through sovereignty. So um, energetic boundaries are very important in this case. And a misconception is, well, if I put up these energetic boundaries, am I going to lose my person? Well, maybe, but the point is that you have to have energetic boundaries, or you're going to be bleeding all over each other. So um, we'll get into some ways to have those energetic boundaries and why they're important. But the point is, they don't block the union. You actually need those boundaries to have the union, or you're going to continue on that cycle, that roller coaster. So if the connection requires you to carry another person's healing, it's also not a union. So that's a form of spiritually bypassing. If you're the one, if you're carrying the weight of the relationship, you're learning the lesson. Say for example, um, your partner cheats on you, just as an example, and crosses the line, and um, you go through the whole pain of that, and you decide to stay together. You both go, you go to have a fight or whatever, you break up, and you go through the pain of that, the separation, the pain, and then you end up back together. Say that person, however long later, you're going about your relationship, and then a month later, or however long, it happens again. It happens again. And you've learned the lesson from the last time. You had already dealt with the pain from the last time of it. So that should mean, right, that you don't need to deal with the pain of it again, right? So ideally, you would walk away, um, and not be expected to hold the weight again while your partner still hasn't learned the lesson from that. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things. It's an energetic mismatch. Where one has learned a lesson and the other has not. So, and you can't be responsible for somebody else's healing, somebody else's I mean, you recognized why they may have acted in that way, for whatever whatever childhood wounding or whatever. But at what point does it become excuses instead of, it's a choice. Once you recognize it, once it's been brought up as a mirror to see, then from that point, therefore, it's a choice to act from your wounding or to act from a state of being healed. And it's also the choice of the other person who who's the recipient, um, to either, if you continue to deal with it, then you yourself are still acting from a place of wounding as well. So there's no growth there. It's like just continuing a continuous cycle. So where if you're being asked to carry another person's healing, it's not a union. um, you are not responsible for somebody else's healing. You can't be, actually. You can't. Somebody else has to want it and take responsibility of it. You can't do that for somebody. You just can't. So there's that's the imbalance they're asking to be witnessed, though. And the boundaries make it possible for you to um, stay sovereign and not be brought back unless you put yourself back on that roller coaster or back on that cycle. Those boundaries is what you know, keep you moving forward and um, uh, out of that entanglement. All right. So, what else? If a union is real, if a union is possible, it'll meet you in clarity. It's not going to show up with confusion. It's not going to show up in the same busted way that it always did. It's going to meet you in clarity, and it's not going to require you to shrink, because at this point you've grown, right? It's not going to require you to shrink yourself or to fall back into old habits in order to meet them. And ideally, or realistically, they're going to have to rise to meet you at your level if union is possible, if there's going to be an energetic match. Um, it'll feel like recognition and not confusion. So it would feel like ease, really. Um, some ways you can embody this message and do daily polarity checks, because once you've set your energetic boundaries, and we'll get into some ways you can do that. Once you've set your energetic boundaries, then you want to check in and see where you are. Check your polarity to make sure you're balanced within yourself. So you want to ask yourself, um, do I feel more myself or less myself in this energy? And wait to feel it in your body too. If you feel more yourself, congratulations, you're aligned. If you feel less yourself, feel like you're losing yourself, and I don't mean like the stuff that needs to break down in order to cleanse it out. I don't mean the wounds, the wounding. That's meant to be let go of. That's meant to be released or integrated or something. I mean more yourself, like your true essence, your divine self, your higher self. Um, if you feel less, then it's chances are it's entanglement. So those are some ways to know the difference between the two there. Um, let's get into some physical things you can do. Uh, how to embody this information and do your daily polarity checks, and this should only take like maybe 1 to 3 minutes. Um, and this keeps your inner masculine and feminine balanced in order to keep from entanglement reforming. because the last thing you want to do is to break the, you know, not, I don't want to say break the bond or the sever the connection or sever the cords or the ties, but once you establish your own energetic boundaries off after getting off the roller coaster and getting out of a cycle, you don't want re-entanglement to form. So you're going to drop into the body for about 30 seconds. Stand and sit. This is step one for the polarity check. Stand or sit upright. Your hand on one hand on your lower abdomen, which is your feminine receptive, and then a hand on your solar plexus, which is your masculine directive. And then slowly inhale and exhale slowly, and ask yourself, am I, so keep in mind you have your hand on your, not your heart, your solar plexus, and a hand on your your abdomen, your danjan, and you're breathing into your body to get present. You're going to do this for about 30 seconds. And then you're going to ask yourself, and am I open without overgiving? You feel like you're open without overgiving. And this is how you're checking your feminine receptor. And if it feels expansive, good. That's good. If it feels heavy or tight, um, that's the feminine over functioning. And it's really important to um, not try to think logically. Don't try to use your mind. You're really feeling within your body how your body feels. So you're looking to feel if it's an expansive feeling or if it's tight and constricted. If it's tight and constricted, you have an imbalance, a feminine imbalance. All right. So then ask yourself, am I protecting clarity without closing? Am I protecting clarity without closing? If you feel grounded when you ask that, that's good. If you feel rigid or again braced, more constricted, then the masculine is being over controlling. Over controlling. So that's a polarity check. At that moment, you're not correcting anything, you're just checking to see if you're balanced in alignment. And then step three is you're going to be your micro adjustments depending on how you feel in that moment. Got my crystal. Okay, so that's no longer warm. That was hot. Now it's kind of cold. Anyway, okay, so step three is going to be where you make any micro adjustments if you have any imbalances. So, depending on what you feel, if the feminine is over functioning, then you're going to imagine drawing gently inward like a tide returning to shore. So, you're going to visualize this yourself drawing inward, like you're drawing in your energy like a tide coming back into shore. And that's if your feminine is over functioning. Okay, and so then if your masculine is too rigid, your masculine is over functioning, you're too controlling, imagine the chest and the jaw area softening. You're going to drop your breath lower. You're going to focus on your breathing, drop your breath to a lower, and focus breathing in and out. And just imagine your chest softening and your jaw area softening. And then you could say to yourself, both are here, neither are dominant. And I know it sounds so simple and so easy, but it really is powerful. Just the intention. Stop it. He just decided to put his little claw in me all of a sudden. Um, it's intention, it's the meditation and the intention alone that brings you back into coherence. And this is actually training coherence. So, and this isn't just for training your level of coherence. Isn't just is good in any area, any aspect of your life, not just for relationships. And it's for staying um, balanced and grounded and sovereign within your own energy in general. So, training coherence is going to prepare you for really what you're looking for too, when you start aligning with energies that are um, more aligned to you, because um, naturally you're going to be magnetic when you call your energy and your power back to you. That makes you become more magnetic. And so you're going to be attracting all sorts of things. But what you will notice is that you'll start to attract, and this is what we're going to get into now, because this is the exciting part, because now you're getting into, okay, consciously creating. You've done the inner work, you know, coming out of this year 9, you've done the inner work, and now you're ready for more aligned, truly aligned relationships that can meet you where you are and that could be more fulfilling emotionally and energetically. So, what does that look like once you recalibrate your polarity and call back your power and your essence and you become magnetic? So, what you'll notice is you'll start to attract. We'll get into that. Let's see. What you'll no longer attract, we'll start there, okay? What you'll no longer attract is partners that are not emotionally available, um or people in awakening crisis who want a mirror and not a partner. um you won't be attracting strong chemistry with unclear direction, or people who admire your depth, who want that depth but don't want the responsibility of what that means and what that entails, or meeting you there with the same amount of depth and presence. Look who's made an appearance. It's because he's like, feed me, Seymour. Not right now, boy. Let's see what else. You'll no longer attach partners that have potential without embodiment. So, and the reason why is because they'll feel the they won't resonate. They either won't approach you or they'll lose interest quickly, which in my opinion, good. Less work for me, less yeah, less work for me. Weed yourself out. Weed yourself out. They'll lose interest quickly, or they'll feel unsettled around you because they can't match your frequency. It's an energetic mismatch. They'll feel unsettled around you. So those are some key things to look for once you start dating again, or start magnetizing people to you. Um, what you will start to attract um, are partners who are emotionally contained. So and you may have fewer connections, which is great, because who has time for so many connections anyway? Hey, stop that. Who has time for so many multiple connections anyway? What you want are quality connections. You don't want a bunch of misaligned connections of people draining your energy. Um, so you'll have partners who are able to communicate clearly and openly. Um, they'll have grounded ambition and purpose. They'll be more grounded and calm confidence. They'll have a subtle confidence, so it's not ego um, or performative. It's just a calm confidence. Attraction will feel steady and not urgent. What else? This person doesn't need saving. This person doesn't test your boundaries. Again, we talked about that earlier. They're not going to test your boundaries. They're going to respect your boundaries. Um, and they're going to respect you for having boundaries. This person doesn't need confusion to feel alive. In those karmic entanglements, they're being ran on off dysfunction and being led by wounded masculine, imbalanced masculine feminine energies, and wounded masculine, wounded feminine energies. And I'm not talking about gender here. This doesn't matter if you're same-sex relationship or whatever you identify as. Everyone, regardless of how you were born, everyone has masculine and feminine energies within them. And if there's an imbalance, it's going to show up. And not only imbalanced masculine and feminine energies, but wounded energies as well. We all have them just from being human. So don't take this as a man, woman type dynamic. These really are energies, regardless of your orientation. All right, so now that we got that out of the way, confusion. Oh yeah, doesn't need confusion to feel alive. So remember that roller coaster. That roller coaster sometimes equates, um, well, misconception that it equates to excitement and intensity. These healthy connections will often seem, especially to somebody who's not used to a regulated nervous system, it'll often seem boring or uneventful, or you know like nothing's going on. But really what that is a healthy relationship, which most people aren't used to. And that doesn't mean it has to lack passion. That doesn't mean that. It just means it's grounded, it's rooted, it's not performative based, it's not emotional roller coasters, uh, it's not filled with drama and fights and ups and downs, five of wands type energy. You don't need all that. All right, so they meet you where you are, where you once held space. They meet you where you are. How romance will feel different in this dynamic. You'll notice attraction without anxiety. You no longer feel fear. um, Interest without that hyper focus. Again, where the devil start popping out in the cards. I am, unless you're actually dealing with a Capricorn. Now that I'm talking to a Capricorn, when I pull cards now, I'm like, okay, well, I have to use extra discernment. Is the devil popping out because it's extra toxic, or is it just the Capricornian nature? And yeah, there's some toxicity, I'm sure. But anyway, you there's not that hyper focus. You feel at ease. You don't, you know, you're not trying to prove anything, or again, it's not performative. There's desire that doesn't destabilize you. You can feel that desire and that attraction without it just taking you out or taking you, that's all you can think about, or again, destabilizing you. It's grounded. It's not fantasy. It's not rooted in fantasy. It's rooted in um, reality and something real and tangible, grounded and sustainable. Um, if something feels intense and destabilizing, you'll clock it immediately. That, hey, shush, it's not time for you to eat, sir. You have 15 minutes. Hold up. uh, that's the whole point in training your coherence, and you'll become really sensitive to that. I know I'm able to see imbalances now, like that. Or even if there's And again, it's not to just dismiss everybody either. You know, everyone's going to have some level. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. We're not looking for perfection here, but we are looking for compatibility, resonance, and energetic alignment. So these are things you want to pay attention to. And you don't want somebody who's going to, you know, you've done a lot of inner work, right? You don't want somebody who's going to re-wound you or keeping you in a state of having to heal from something. No, no, sir. All right. We're already 50 minutes in. Good thing we're almost done. Okay, so if something feels intense and destabilizing, you'll clock it immediately, and that's your cue to step back, reground, and, you know, step back without the, you don't need drama to step back, pull your energy back. It's not really something that's a fight or something that you need to permission to do. You are, that's why you're sovereign. You don't need permission to pull your energy back. And really, it's about self-mastery. Self-mastery. And if you can both show up in that space with that level of mastery, then you can grow together, continue to grow together. No relationships are perfect, though. Again, nobody's perfect and no relationships are perfect, but if you can get on uh, energetic resonant level, then you can go from there. um let's see. Even in a divine union, there can be quiet gaps. Again, that's recalibration. It's not loneliness, though. It's not, you shouldn't feel any level of anxiety or a separation anxiety because you've healed that, right? You can sit in your own space, be in your own energy, be alone, and feel safe and grounded and whole and complete and not need that external validation, that external connection to make you feel whole and loved. You're able to provide those things within yourself and you feel safe. So if you can still maintain the connection and not, you know, and take space when you need it, then that's actually healthy. It allows for recalibration and integration. So what else? Yeah, that's the sign your nervous system recalibrating to calm the connection. Don't rush to fill that space. Take that space when you feel like it's needed. Um, that's where clean, healthy attraction forms. Simple romantic discernment check that you can do is ask yourself, do I feel more regulated after interaction with this person or less? If you feel regulated, cool, congratulations, you're in alignment. If you feel dysregulated, red flag, that's entanglement forming. Prepare to see the devil popping up in the cards. um, and trust your body always. Your body will always tell you, if you can't trust your mind, if you can't trust your logic, or you know, trust your body. It'll tell you: is it tense? Is it open? Is it constricted? So listen to your body. Final truth to anchor: you're no longer magnetizing at this state. You're no longer magnetizing from longing or from attachment. You're magnetizing from coherence and embodiment. So this changes everything. This changes the quality of your relationships, the outcome of your relationships, the depth of your relationships, and what else? Did I say the timing and the outcome? It changes everything. It's the quality. So it's like that song, "Bring me a higher love." Mm. Bring me a higher love. I still can't sing, but I'm gonna sing it anyway. It's not gonna stop me. All right, so that's the message. That's the message I have for you. I'm going to pull a couple cards for you guys before I leave it from our destiny deck, because we're talking about love. pull a couple of cards from our Romance Angel deck, and then I'm going to leave you with an Ascension Oracle message. All right, so let's see what comes out in tarot. Bottom of the deck, Ace of Wands before doing anything. All right. What guidance do we have for the collective for their highest good? What message can we leave them with? I love this deck. It's so pretty. It's got the gold edges. All right, and the rose on the back. All right, well, that wanted to fly out, but we're not going to take it. So I didn't shuffle it up. All right. Cool, cool, cool. Okay, that's kind of a lot of energy, but we'll take a couple. Eight of Wands. Eight of Wands is communication. Communication is key. If you can't communicate with somebody, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. If you can't openly communicate, yeah, it's not going to work. Communicate honestly and openly. If you can't feel open, if you don't feel open enough to communicate, it's probably not your person. What else? I mean, I say that loosely, and I probably shouldn't. Use your own discernment on that. You know, I'm not a psychologist, but in my opinion, if you can't openly communicate with somebody, honestly, if you can't honestly communicate with somebody, it's probably not your person. You should be able to communicate honestly in any situation, really. Nine of Wands. I feel like that just fell. Nine of Wands is like that's your boundaries. That's like you've been through a lot. You've been through a lot. This is our wounded warrior who's been through a lot. It's also our, fences make good neighbors. So, be discerning and put up those energetic boundaries and don't let just anybody through, because not everybody is going to be in alignment with you. Not everybody's going to be in resonance with you. So in order to not drain your energy, you've already been through a lot with this Nine of Wands. You've already been through a lot. So in order to not continue in a state of depletion, an energetic depletion, don't let others deplete you. Energetic boundaries, fences make good neighbors. What else? We have the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords is the queen of discernment. This is using discernment and putting up the boundaries and not dealing with anybody's bullshit. Seeing through illusions and lies and confusion, and having that mental clarity in order to navigate and communicate. Queen of Wands is clear. She's mentally clear, she's discerning, and she knows how to communicate. And she's got her boundaries up. All right. And stop that, sir. And then at the bottom of the deck, Ten of Swords. Ooh. So at the bottom of the deck is the Ten of Swords, which is our card of betrayal, terrible endings. It's probably what a lot of us are coming out of and, healing from. Having learned those lessons and dealt with the pain of that, it's okay to release it, let it go, heal from it, because we're going into something brand new. I threw my highlighter at him to shut up. It worked for a minute. Okay, let's see if we can get through. So you've dealt with the pain of that. You've healed from the pain of that. Don't perpetuate it by reliving it over and over and over again. Release the pain of that, release the weight of that, and learn the lesson from that, and move on. All right, so that's our tarot. That is our tarot. Let's get a couple of cards, see what's coming in romantically, or what guidance comes out there, what's coming out romantically for you. It's funny when I see other readers, because so many other readers have this same deck, this Doreen Virtue deck, the Romance Angels. And whenever I see it used, their deck looks so pristine to me. I don't know if mine does on camera. I guess it does kind of. got the gold edges. In person, though, it looks really used. It looks used. Whenever I see others, though, it looks so pristine, and I'm like, how does theirs look so new? Mine looks so old and used. I don't even use it that much. Anyway, all right, Spirit, what guidance do we have here? What's coming for the collective, or what they need to be aware of? Now he's playing with it. Good. He's playing with it. What do we have for the collective for their highest good? Ooh. This card always comes out for me too. Past life relationship. A lot of these karmic entanglements are because of past life relationships that where we have karmic debt with, that we're clearing. Also, wedding at the bottom of the deck. This could be an alchemical wedding. I mean, it could be quite literal too. Some of y'all might be getting married. Congratulations if you are. Um, however, I consider this also alchemical. An alchemical wedding is the balancing of your masculine, feminine energies. So I take that to mean that as well. And give your relationship a chance. Work on your partnership. You don't always have to just throw it away or throw the baby out with the bathwater, whatever that means. I mean, I know what it means, but it's not the best saying, huh? Anyway, you don't have to throw the whole thing away. If it's worth, if you know, use discernment. If it's worth working on, work on it. Not every relationship is perfect. One thing I had wrote down something. I think I forgot to ask it though. One thing to ask yourself as a way of knowing if it's a union worth building or if it's a karmic entanglement. Ask yourself, where's the question? Ask yourself, would the connection still feel meaningful if it stopped hurting? If it does still feel meaningful, then chances are then it's there's potential there for union. If it doesn't feel meaningful without the suffering and the pain and the drama and the roller coaster, then chances are then it's just initiation. Often this will show up in the cards. You'll have a lot of the tower moment. The moon will come out, the devil, the death card, Seven of Swords, and the Five of Cups. These are cards that are often associated when you're dealing with the initiation process. The Tower, of course, is disillusion. It's endings. It's destruction of it all in order to build something strong and sturdy. Anyway, we won't go back into the tarot. We're trying to wrap this up. It's already over an hour. So that's what we have for our romance angel deck. Let's get you a card from the Essential Oracle to leave you with. Ascension Oracle. Gosh, I just realized all my cards that I've been using today have the gold edges. All right. Thank you, Spirit. What guidance can we leave the collective with for their highest good? I didn't anticipate this message being so long, but knock on wood, I'm thankful I have the storage on my phone for it. All right. We got here Unfolding Light and Transitioning Worlds, a 9. Well, it's 18, which reduces to a 9. And Transitioning Worlds, which is 28 and transitions to a 10, which is so appropriate. We're coming out of a 9-year into a 10-year. So let's see how quickly I can read this. Also, 18 is the moon in tarot. 18, unfolding light. When the illusion of identity and self fall away, the truth of who we are is revealed. Right now, you are going through a time of transition. All that is inauthentic and not aligned with your highest self is breaking down. You are returning into the fullness and wholeness of being, as hard as this period may be. Have faith and allow this process to unfold. There's no need to try to keep it together or control the natural evolution of your soul. Think of this time as an opportunity to transcend and release all that has been holding you back. Surrender, have faith, and trust in what is taking place. Use this time to practice self love and remember the universe is not against you or punishing you in any way. The old is simply falling away. As the facade of what limits and defines you falls away, your true radiance and magnificence shine through. Nice. Exercise. Breathing gently, place your hands on your heart and repeat the following mantra. I surrender with faith and trust to the light of love unfolding within me. Visualize this light growing inside you, expanding out all around you. Affirmation. I release all that does not serve my highest self as I unfold to the illuminating light of love that I am. That's perfectly aligned with our message. And then the last one, 28. Let's read that one real quick. Transitioning worlds. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 12:2. During this time of transitioning into a new vibrational paradigm, there may be many moments you feel disillusioned by what is real. You may find yourself reassessing what it is you truly value and disconnecting from the material playing fields and defining constructs of this reality. Loved one, you are not alone, although there may be many moments you feel isolated as people around you may not comprehend your change. You might find yourself disengaged by the world around you and find inner solace in retreating to inner sanctum of peace, into your inner sanctum of peace. Trust the process. All is unfolding as it should. You are in perfect harmony and resonance with the grand cosmic design that is at play. Loved one, you are currently walking between two worlds, the world of duality and the world of unity and oneness. As you shift back and forth in consciousness from one old way of being to the new you, stay conscious of your choices. Are your choices coming from a place of love or fear? The more you embrace your divine light, the easier this shift will be. You will be able to not only live in this world, but thrive without the constraints of its dualistic nature. Exercise. Spend more time connecting to the heart of the earth. For example, bushwalks, gardening, and so on. Bushwalks. Through her loving presence, she will ground you through this time of change. Affirmation. I am expanding my light through conscious choices of self-love. All right, y'all, that's all I have for you. I hope this message resonated with you. If it did not, check back again. Maybe the next one will. That's it. Have a happy new year. Keep on rising, y'all.